A very quick video on removing the pistons from a stripped engine from a 6.9 litre M100. This is engine number 12 off the production line, a very early car. The car was stripped. It was a left-hand drive to right-hand drive conversion and a mess. And we find ourselves needing the block for one of our other 6.9s. And so the mechanic was wishing to inspect this one. So you can see that the pistons come out quite easily after removing the two bolts which hold in each piston around the crankshaft, taking off the crankshaft bearing on one side and then tapping it through. This is from the engine upside down on a transmission mount with the dry sump removed. This engine my mechanic thought had been tinkered with before. There's no piston rings on the piston, and the bolts for the connecting rods were actually very loose. So two pistons attached to the crank in each sight, and then after you've done one, you need to rotate it at the 50mm crank bolt to spin the crank round and get access to the next two bolts. This is after the pistons have been removed. I think they were the low compression version. And then there was a plan to hone the cylinders. Sorry about my terrible filming. To review the caliber of the cylinders. So this is just a mixture of petrol and kerosene and other things my mechanic was suggesting, and just honing this here to clear off all the lacquer and crap that's deposited on the cylinder before inspecting it. Because if the in the case of the car that we need a possible block for, there was some moisture damage in the cylinder, and in that case you can either bore it out, I understand, and use bigger cylinders, or bigger pistons, I'm sorry, which are not available, and you'd have to get custom made for a 6.9, or you could put sleeves into the engine. And so I've got a few spare 6.9 engine wrecks around, so we're just looking at a couple of the blocks. And ultimately this one didn't turn out so well. There was some moisture damage, which is unsurprising. When I wrecked the car, the state of it was pretty poor. To my untrained eye, I couldn't readily pick the damage to it, but the mechanic was concerned about the some moisture damage in this one as well. So after drying these out and getting all the crud out, inspection suggests this has still got oil and some of the lubricant in there. So just, it doesn't show up well, I'm sorry, but pointing out some of the suspected moisture damage in that particular cylinder.